Good morning, everyone. My name is Ira, and today I'll try to compare several adequate methods for reconstructing missing part on the same cultural heritage object made of metal. First of all, why is the title so complicated? I didn't mention which object it was because it is often mistaken for something else. Your task during this presentation will be to find the hints and try to guess what the object is and what was its purpose. And what is the reason why there are several adequate methods in title and not just one? If you ask conservators what material and method is the best for making a reconstruction, the answer will probably be the same. It depends. So, what does it depend on? Firstly, it depends on the object itself. Secondly, it depends on a problem, or how optimists would say, opportunity, that the conservator is facing. In this case, it was missing part of the cover. And this is an everyday object that was opened and closed during the use, and it is the part of its essence and history. For this reason, although it is a museum object and will not be returning into use, it is necessary to keep the possibility of opening the cover without creating a future damage during manipulation. Also, the object is going to be placed indoor, so it will not be exposed to extremely inadequate conditions. The cover was handmade of a metal sheet, which means it is relatively thin and has irregular shape. Item was actually damaged for various reasons, but there is no significant historical event in which the cover was damaged and for which would be necessary to preserve the damage as a part of documentary value of the object. Also, in this case, the missing part could lead to future damage of the object during manipulation. Also, it disables correct interpretation of the object. For these reasons, by doing reconstruction, we are returning structural stability to object and also restoring legibility and reestablishing the broken continuity of form. Into account were taken wishes of the owner, deadline, budget, and available methods and manufacturing techniques and materials. After the decision on the reconstruction, the analysis determined that the cover was made of pure copper. Also, it was concluded that the existing shape of the cover will be retained and the reconstruction will fill in the missing parts following the irregularities of the current condition. It was decided that a missing part will have similar appearance to the original. The reconstruction could be made of copper or out of some artificial material and for each of them there were different methods. First method was 3D print. The option was rejected primarily because there was no knowledge or technical equipment to use this method. However, the first step was possible, and that was to make 3D model of a current condition of the object. The missing part could be made in metal, and the main problem was that the soldering to the original is irreversible. Also, in the workshop, there was no technical possibility to sufficiently thin and heat the metal sheet, so by processing it became too hard and too brittle. The next options were to make a piece from some artificial material. The first option was to make a separate part and then connect it to the original. In this case, the mold needs to be made out of some available material. The second option was to make a missing part directly on the object, and in this case, some kind of mold or base needs to be made, and the material is then applied onto it. The way this way, one should not think about joining parts with original. Given that there were so many options, the decision was made according to the most suitable material, and the method of the production was then adapted to its properties. Options were epoxy and polyester, some color, and some transparent with toning options. According to properties, Arametal was chosen. The material can be applied in layers and mechanically processed after drying. Also, it has similar properties as metal and can be strengthened by editing of carbon fibers. It is easy to retouch it and it is reversible. After that, the materials for making mold were considered. Milliput could not be separated from Arametal. Dental wax cannot give a very precise imprint. Low viscosity silicone is hard to manipulate with before drying, and in general, it is difficult to process silicone after drying. From which material then the base was made of? Actually, crepe tape was used as it is most easily removed from Arametal after drying. Plasticine was placed under it if necessary in order to achieve desired shape. After drying, the material was mechanically shaped and retouched with pigments in powder, as you can see here. So, to conclude, the decision about reconstruction It needs to be made based on research and knowledge of the essential characteristics of object and the material. There is not just one adequate method, and no option is ideal. For this reason, we will always have to make some compromises. So this is the cover before, during, and after conservation restoration treatments. And that's it. Thank you all for your attention. And I would also like to thank my mentor and everyone who made this presentation possible. The presentation covered part of my master's thesis, and for all suggestions and questions, don't hesitate to ask now in the Q&A section or via email or social media. Thank you. Bye.